Hey everyone. Today I'm going to walk you through the website monitor agent. So, as product managers, we often rely on competitive websites, regulatory approvals, or partner pages for critical updates and release notes. But manually checking for changes is not just inefficient, but also prone to a lot of error. And that's the reason why I built the website monitor agent, an automated way to track updates and only get alerted when something meaningful changes. Here is how it works. I specify the URL that I want to keep a track of. In this case, it's lifelabs.com. And then I instruct the agent to run on a predefined schedule. It could be every day, or in this case, the 31st day of the month at midnight. So what it does, it scrapes the URL specified. It compares the results of the current scrape with that of the previous scrape, and then if it flags any differences on the website content, instead of dropping a raw HTML in my inbox, it outputs a clean markdown formatted report highlighting the relevant changes. The result, I get neat and clean digest email to me, or if I want, I could also get this on Slack, which shows the summary of the changes and what's new that's coming up there without any noise or without having me to go through a lot of clutter and get this insight. So as you can see, this was an ad hoc run on September 19th. It told me that Life Labs website had new news articles that came up. There were some promotional materials that were updated, but overall, the content and navigation have remained stable. Patient experience has not changed, and then some more. Of course, the format and the content in this report is something that we can control. So to give you an overview of how I've built this agent, I've configured the start block to run on a schedule. Once it's triggered at the defined time, triggers this scrape URL block. I've provided an URL that it has to scrape. It scrapes the entire URL and saves it into a variable called current scrape. And then there's a conditional branching here using the logic block. The logic block checks whether there was any content that was already existing for the current scrape variable or not. That means if is it a first time run or has it run multiple times. If it is a first time run, there's no previous content. It will simply display what it has scraped and it will end the workflow. But if it has a previous scrape, it will branch down to this flow here where there's a generate text block, which has this prompt that tells it to analyze the current scrape that was received as a result of the current workflow being triggered. And then it also has access to memory. So it has already saved the content from the previous scrape. And this generate text block is actually comparing the current scrape with that of the previous scrape result. And then there's another conditional logic block here, which determines whether any content have changed between the two scrapes. So the gap analysis that was generated as a result of this generate text block is sent to the logic block. And if changes are found, it goes into this report generation block here. If no changes have been found, it basically goes down to this particular flow where it overwrites the global last scrape variable with the current scrape so that for the next run, we have the latest value saved as the previous scrape. But if the gap analysis results indicate that there have been changes, then the flow proceeds to this generate text block again. And this block has a prompt that tells the agent to look at the results of the gap analysis and then create a report that explains what those changes are. And then it also explains what kind of formatting is required. And here you can see I've given it a sample output so that I want the report to follow that particular output. So the report title, summary of changes, conclusion, and this ensures I have consistency in all my reports that are coming out from this workflow. And once the report is generated, I've named it post. Post goes into the send email block. The send email block already is configured with my account, and the subject of the email would be website change report, and the body is whatever report is generated I'm saved in this post variable. And then this email is sent to my inbox. And then even with this branch, I would want to make sure that the value of my current scrape is saved to the global variable so that when this workflow runs next time, the content of the current scrape will be used as the last scrape in the future workflows. And then this workflow ends. Instead of the send email block, you could also use a Slack block or any other block that offers integration with the agent builder. This is incredibly valuable for competitive intelligence and compliance monitoring and takes a load off a product manager's to-do list. It removes manual checks, ensures timely awareness, and keeps teams focused on what's changed. Thanks a lot for watching.